Let's talk about the Nobel Prize. Where were you when you got the word?
Well, I was in an office with Jim Watson of Watson and Crick fame. It was in London. It was 2001. And then somebody came in from the office and said, your office has just phoned and they would like you to turn on your mobile phone. And so I went out. It was a pretty clunky mobile phone. And there was a recorded message. And I listened to the recorded message, and it was from somebody with a very heavy accent. I don't know if you've ever listened to a Swedish accent speaking English, but it's a bit like speaking English with a hot potato in the mouth. And I didn't understand what was being said. I picked up...
He's speaking English.
He's speaking English, but I couldn't quite get
Scandinavian
it.
English.
In the Scandinavian accent, of course. And I, of course, can't speak Swedish, so what am I complaining about? But I listened to it, and I thought, I think they're asking me to comment on who's got the Nobel Prize this year. I mean, that was my first sort of thought. So I then went back and listened to it again. And then it gradually trickled through. They were telling me that I had won the Nobel Prize. I just didn't quite sort of, hadn't sort of sunk in. So I sort of stopped there, and then I thought, well, I'd better go back to the office. So I went back to the room with Jim and the others sitting there, and I said, do excuse me, just listen to this. This is one of the most stupid things I've ever said in my life. Do excuse me, but I've got to go now because I think I've won the Nobel Prize. And I just left to try and confirm it, which I did when I got back to my office.
What was going through your mind right from the get-go when you understood you were pretty sure that you'd won a Nobel Prize?
Well, it wasn't a complete surprise because I'd won several prizes that sort of lead up to it. It didn't come like a meteorite hitting me. But the Nobel Prize is the only scientific prize that anybody in the world knows about. The fact is, you probably wouldn't be talking to me today if I hadn't won the Nobel Prize. You suddenly become a figure that people, in a minor sort of way, pay attention to. And so you do become a sort of different person, and I knew enough about it to realise that was going to happen, which indeed it did. But, you know, there's a lot of luck in winning a Nobel Prize. Let's be blunt about it. I know many scientists of the same quality. You do have to be in the right place in an area at the right time. It has to be work that can be identified with 2 or 3 people. And if you get all those stars together, then the Nobel Prize can come. But there's many of my colleagues who I know are equally deserving.
But I'm a great believer in the cliche that where preparation meets opportunity is what many people call luck.
Yes. Well, look, I'm a pretty good scientist. I'm not trying to deny that. I have exploited serendipity. I told you the story of how I found these small cells dividing. I wasn't looking for those. Right. But when I saw them, I interpreted it and I got it right.
Because you had prepared yourself for that moment.
Somehow, I mean, of course, I hadn't prepared myself in the sense I was looking for them, but soon as nature gave it to me, I recognized it, and that's how I view it. And that's how I view a lot of biology. You have to follow where nature takes you. And so I was very open to that. And so indeed it was serendipitous, indeed it was luck, but you did have to, indeed, as you're implying, capitalize on that luck.